What's going on, everybody? It's Pelfrey, and I'm gonna do a raw video. I believe I'm gonna try to rescape this tank and get it hopefully situated a little bit better than it currently is. I also wanted to point out that this is a week of evaporation, so this is a 5-gallon bucket, and it's probably more than half empty, so that'll be part of my maintenance today as far as refilling the bucket back up. But I'm gonna pull these rocks out, try to rescape it and see what I can come with, and might try to get that guy off that frag plug, and I might try to get that frag plug off. This rock full, as always, I know the blues are bad right now, so bear with me, is gonna have to stay. This rock is gonna have to stay. These 3 rocks back here with the recordias will have to stay. So I don't know, let's see what we can come up with. So you probably can't tell, but it is different. I took this rock out, this rock out, this rock out, and this is the Marco rock. And I cut the bottom with a hacksaw. I know I'm shaking. I should have put the phone on the tripod, and I'm trying to hold it still, whatever. But cutting the rock with the hacksaw was actually very easy. And it could be a couple things. It could be just the rock itself, or it could also be the fact that it's been sitting in water for 6 or 8 months, something like that. So, but it was very easy. Whenever I started cutting on sudden pieces, it broke off. And this is, we'll go out here real quick. This is kind of the template. Excuse the lawnmower. Everybody's trying to get the yard mowed. It's rained here for the last 2 weeks, but that is the residue that was left over in the cardboard with my template. But it was very easy to cut, actually. It wasn't that big of a deal. So I don't know if that statement stands true for the reef cleaner rock, but as far as this rock is concerned, the Marco rock, it was pretty easy to cut. And I really wish, I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see the film inside of here. This bucket is brand new, so this salt has been mixing for a week with a power head inside of here. And a week ago, this residue was not in here. So you can see that the reef crystals, and it might be other salts as well, I'm not sure, but the reef crystals definitely does leave a residue in the bucket whenever it's mixing. I guess maybe for a prolonged period, I'm not really sure on that, but like I mentioned in my video on last Friday, I always have 5 gallons. This is actually just a hair over 5 gallons. You can see the marks there where I've actually marked out 1 through 5 as far as gallons are concerned. But I always have 5 gallons of salt water mixing just in case. But I need to siphon out from where I picked up the rock. I got a bunch of stuff, and this is a true testament to running bare bottom. You can see all of the gunk down here and whatnot, and really it doesn't even bother me. The only thing I have running right now is the power head. So whenever I kick on the pump, this stuff will start moving back to one of the corners. It might be a different corner. Before it was settling over here, and over in this corner. It may change now that I changed the rock work. The light is coming off of the Kessel gooseneck. Hopefully this week. I have some 80/20 coming in. Actually, it'll probably be part of this video. So, but I have some 80/20 coming in. I want to get the light off of the side of the tank. And then I want to know your thoughts. Right now, I'm running the MP10 back here. And I would really like to get it on the long side. And I have a couple things. I did move the heater, so it is now submerged inside of the tank. It's not sticking out, or the top part of it's not sticking out, so it's not as intrusive at this point. But I would really like to move the MP10 either on this side or this side on the front. So The downside to running on this side is it's going to blow water directly into the overflow, which is not really that big of a deal. This is basically a closed loop system. And if I put it on this side, you're going to have water returning from the lock line. And then if I put the power head at the middle, it's going to blow water back in this direction. I guess really my best bet is to play with it and see what kind of flow I can get and what is going to be the best kind of flow for my tank. But I'd really like to get it off of the back. Well, I guess for an aesthetic reason, it looks better back there because you can't see it, and it might actually be the best place for it. The only reason I have this frag rack in here right now is because I have multiple frags of zoanthids, and you can see my glue job on some of them is not too great, and this one is covered in algae, but I do have multiple frags of zoas. These are all the same zoa, minus this little guy in the middle. But I'm not the best at fragging yet. I guess it takes practice, whatever, but what I've been doing is fragging this guy right here. These are really small and hard to frag, along with these guys, and these guys, they're really small and hard to frag. And at this point, there's actually 3 different types of zoas on this one rock. There's 1, 2, and 3, and they're really hard to get to frag. And they've just kind of taken over this rock. And if I'm not mistaken, this guy and this guy over here are actually the same thing, which means that these, 3 or 4 frag plugs up here are the same zoas. As far as the recordias are concerned, I really need to get, I've read about people taking a piece of rock and a shot glass and putting the recordia in there with the rock and the shot glass, and it'll attach itself to the rock, but this one has never attached itself to anything. That one back there is still on a frag plug and glued to the rock, and then this guy actually has attached itself, I don't know if we can focus there, to the rock, and that's probably the best one out of all of them. I'm not sure about the placement of the Scully. He's kind of out of direct flow at this point. And this hammer here, which it's at some point split another head, I'm not really sure, but I don't know if he's going to extend and bother the Scully. It's just something I guess I'll have to see, but I'm going to drain. Probably won't do 5 gallons this week because I did take this rock out of the system completely, so I'll probably drain 3.5 gallons or so and do my water change, and that'll be done. But I do like it a lot better. It's just really hard escaping a small tank, and I've said this before, but you know, whenever I went from the cube to the 20, the cube was taller, so that was good, but in the scheme of the length, this one's longer, so you know, it's a catch-22 there. I guess you win some, you lose some. But I'm going to drain some water out, put some new water back in, turn the pump on, and probably cut a piece of the poly filter pad, because that's what I'm running in the first chamber over here. I don't know if we can see it. I don't know if it's real dirty at the moment, but that glass in there is clean, or excuse me, dirty because of the refugium light, but the Chadle's doing pretty good in there. So give me a few minutes, do the water change, and now I'll be back. So on these small systems that I've had, I've always done these water changes manually like so, and just starting to siphon myself. Currently I'm siphoning out the residue that was left over from the moving the rocks and trying to get that off the bottom of the tank the best that I can. The one thing that I failed to do was I had the return pump turned off whenever I took all the rock out because the water level dropped, but I forgot to turn the MP10 off whenever I started my siphon. And at this very moment, I can hear the water or the air being sucked into the MP10, so I reached in. So at this point now, I got to drain the hose out because I definitely don't want to suck that water into my mouth and restart the siphon, but that's really not that big of a deal. And, you know, since I'm only changing 5 gallons out, this is just the easiest thing to do versus pulling a pump out or anything else to drain the water out. It doesn't take very long, and plus
this option gives me a chance to get as much stuff out of the water or off the bottom of the tank as I possibly can. I do use the MJ 1200 to pump the water back into the display, and that's one of the reasons why I'm using this hose to siphon the water out, because it fits on the output of the MJ 1200 perfectly. There's no way that I would be able to successfully dump the water back into the tank without making a mess. So what I do is I fill it up to a certain level, and then I disconnect the pump, and whenever I turn the return pump on, if I need to add water, the bucket's going to be empty enough that I can add, you know, another half a gallon or gallon to the system to level it back out. So it's really not that big of a deal, and it's very easy to do. You know, it only takes probably 5 minutes at the most to do a water change on this tank. So I make it a habit whenever I'm doing any type of maintenance to lay towels on the floor. We have a bunch of old towels that we don't use anymore, so those are strictly fish tank towels from here on out. But I put them on the floor so that I can just lay stuff on it and I don't have to clean up a mess later. This is me adding water to the system. I'm watching the float valve that initiates the auto top off. I have the auto top off turned off right now, and I'm just adding a little bit of water to the system until that float valve reaches the point that it's going to come up and not kick the pump on.
I know it's kind of hard to see in here, but since I did all the other work, I figured I might as well go ahead and straighten up the inside of the cabinet. The good thing about having this cabinet is the fact that this back plate right here is cardboard, so you can cut it easily with a razor blade or whatever. So basically the Kessel controller is mounted to a metal mount that it came with, and it just sticks. It's got a magnet that sticks to it. The Vortec, I bought one of the $12 mounts for it, and then you could see the auto top off. It's got the clamp on the back of it. I just cut out a place for it, and I just slid it in there, and I had to cut out a bigger opening because I had to slide the dry side of the MP10 through there. So then I zip tied this surge protector to the back of the cardboard there, and basically it's kind of crazy because on the cube I had almost all of these filled up, and as you can see now I have the MP10 and the auto top off, and basically the return pump and the heater. It's running off of dedicated battery backup, and then the refugium light is hooked up to the battery backup only because it didn't make sense to waste a plug on this thing whenever I had the cube set up. So I could move it over here and plug it up to this surge protector. I'm not sure that I will, but nonetheless, we got a little shaky there. The cabinet's cleaned up and pretty organized, so feeling pretty accomplished today as far as the tank is concerned. The tank cleared up great. You can see the bottom of the tank here. It's pretty clean. You can still see a little bit of rock and dust and whatnot down in that corner, but overall, pretty happy with it. Like I said, the bottom's pretty clean. I've got to do something about that guy right there. I've got to glue him on a rock or something, because I can't be having that. I don't want to stick my hands in the tank every day. But this is probably a pretty long update. I turned the light off so you can't see in here, but I am going to increase the intensity on the Kessel a little bit and see what happens. This week's update is probably going to be a pretty long update. The clowns are out and about, so it's a good sign. The guy down there towards the bottom, or to the left now, he's the bigger one. Man, it's crazy. Whenever I got these guys, they were really, really small, and they've come a long way. And I'm only feeding them, I don't know, a couple times a week. I don't make it a point to feed this tank every single day. There's only 2 fish, but they're doing really good in here. I know that the blue's on. It's hard to see, but since I've done a lot of maintenance today on the tank, I decided to try to get rid of as many frag plugs as I possibly could. Shout out 915 Mag again. I know I mentioned him a lot in my videos, but he mentioned this super glue, so that's what I'm using. But basically I took this A-can and glued it to a rock. Reason being is because since I'm running bare bottom now, whenever I put this thing on the floor of the tank, it's blowing around everywhere. The hammer, I Actually, let me rewind. If you don't have some bone cutters, these are the Bulk Reef Supply bone cutters. This is the pretty good size one or whatever. It's the first time I've used them, and they do damage on frag plugs. So I got lucky with this hammer here. Whenever I cut, I was actually just trying to trim the frag plug off around it, and whenever I did that, the hammer just fell off of it. So that's why you see this perfect circle right here. And then this little guy right here, I know it's named, number one, I just noticed this, he has a hole in him for whatever reason, I'm not really sure. And it's a green tyree or some sort of whatever, but I couldn't get the frag plug off of him, and since I noticed that hole there, I really don't want to stress this core out any more than I have to, so I just trimmed around the frag plug. And the reason why I'm gluing these guys on rocks is because I really don't know where I want them to end up in the tank. I know the A-can here is going to stay on the bottom, but as far as these two are concerned, I'm really not sure where I want them. And basically the way that I got it set up now is I could snap them off of this rock or use the bone cutters to get them off this rock, and that wouldn't be that big of a deal. But if you don't have a set of these, I highly recommend it. I think they were $15 or $20 on Bulk Reef Supply. If you're ordering something from them to begin with, throw these in the cart. I got the bigger ones just because I figured bigger is better, and they cut extremely well. You can see the mess that I've made here. So yeah, I'm letting the glue cure up a little bit, and I'm going to throw them back in the tank, and we'll see what's going on. Like I said, this hole here is kind of strange. You know, of course it's all the way through the flesh there. So I'll have to keep an eye on him and kind of figure out what's going on. I don't know what's happening there, but. All right, here's probably about an hour later after I glued the coral to the rock. And as you can see, that piece right there, it's actually glued to this piece of rock right here, and it blends in perfectly. Same with this guy, waiting for him to open up. And the A-can, for whatever reason, there's this stringy stuff coming off, whenever I took it out of the tank, he was pretty slimy. I don't know, I'm sure he wasn't very happy about being out of the water. The dotty back, ever since I moved to this tank, that dotty back just stays inside the rock, whatever, but you know, it is what it is. But definitely an improvement as far as gluing the rock, or the coral to the rock. Probably something I should have done a long time ago, and waiting for this rock to take over. I did increase the settings on the Kessel a little bit, so we'll see what happens with that. And just as an addition here, of course, you can see where I siphoned up most of the stuff off the bottom of the glass. It's going to be impossible. You can kind of see it. Right in this area is where it settles typically, so it's perfect for me to siphon out. And back in this corner, it's really nothing. So, should be easy to take care of. On a side note, CJ did a live stream. I missed it, so I'm listening to it now. I'm 46 minutes into it. I've got a long way to go, but I love these live streams, guys. Even if I miss the live stream, I always watch it. I watch the whole entire thing. Currently, I've been doing dishes and just playing the live stream. And you know, if it's through the week and the video's still up, I know CJ typically deletes them, but I'll listen to them while I'm at work. The longer the video, the better. You know, you learn a lot of great things, especially whenever you have a huge interaction. You know, CJ's got a lot of subscribers, and his live feeds tend to bring in a great deal of viewers, and it's awesome because once these people start coming into the chat, whatever topic is at hand, you have all these experienced people, and you hear, you know, multiple different ways of doing things, and you can always learn, you know, and it's whatever's working for you might not work for the next person. But if you're talking about, currently he's talking about detritus in his sump area, And 4, 5, 6, 7 people started commenting saying, hey, try this, try this, try this. And, you know, honestly, I probably would have thought of 1 or 2 topics, or 1 or 2 resolutions instead of topics, resolutions. But it's awesome that there's so many people getting involved. And that's one of the reasons why I love this hobby. You know, I don't know it all. I'll never claim to know it all. I don't even really know what works for me at this point. I haven't had a system running long enough. Something else that CJ was talking about was Semenko. I can't pronounce his name, but he's fixing to move, and he's got, not only does he have a large tank, he's got a fish room that he has to move with him, and he's going to get rid of the tank. And that's something that's crossed my mind because, and as CJ stated, this is not a house that we're going to be in forever. So, you know, do I really want to move a big tank and all the equipment that comes along with it? I can move this system by myself. I don't need any help. I don't need anybody to help me carry anything. With the 20 long in the cabinet, I can do it all on my own. With that being said, I still am going to upgrade, but these are things that I took into consideration a month ago as far as what I want to upgrade to. But these are all great points, and you never really know until you start communicating with people what they've gone through and what they're having to do. And it's the same thing with issues that you have inside of the tank. You know, if you talk to somebody that's been doing this for a couple of years, chances are they've gone down that same path and they have a pretty good answer, if not the exact answer, to solve that problem. So I've been rambling on for a while now. Let's go ahead and turn this back on, and I'll continue the stream. I'm going to try to finish it up today. So shout out CJ, man, keep having these live streams, and if it were up to me, I'd leave them on the channel. I know you're going to get a ton of views, and for what it's worth, you know, I'm going to listen to it to its entirety, either over the weekend or through the week whenever I'm at work. So thumbs up, man.
All right, I'm going to finish this video up with a little teaser for next week's video. I appreciate everyone sticking with me through the very, very long update and all the projects that I had going on. Luckily, my family decided to leave the house for a couple hours, so I got a lot done. Continue to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for next week's video. Thanks, everyone.